Today we will be talking about Charles Bonnet syndrome, which is a neurological condition in which a primary visual impairment results in visual hallucinations. While hallucinations are commonly associated with psychiatric illnesses or neurodegenerative conditions, Charles Bonnet syndrome results from ocular diseases that disrupt the primary visual pathway. The late naturalist Charles Bonnet described the disorder in 1769 after his quick-witted grandfather experienced visual hallucinations in the absence of cognitive dysfunction. Correspondingly, diagnostic features of Charles Bonnet syndrome are that patients are cognitively intact, do not experience delusions, and retain insight into the unreality of their perceptions. The hallucinations are characterized by their persistence and vivid detail. Perceptions run the gamut from geometric shape patterns to complex natural landscapes and even fantastical creatures like dragons and fairies. Charles Bonnet syndrome results from a battery of visual diseases, and it follows that damage anywhere along the central visual pathway can lead to the disorder. The central visual pathway, which flows from the retina, along the optic nerve, optic tract, to the lateral geniculate nucleus of the thalamus, and through the optic radiations, provides input to the visual cortices of the occipital lobe that dictates the contents of our conscious awareness. The most robust theory is that degeneration along this pathway leads to deafferentation of area V1, such that the primary visual cortex and higher-order downstream cortices are not constrained by afferent input. The effect is analogous to phantom limb pain. When the visual cortical areas do not receive stimulation, there is spontaneous, abnormal discharge as the brain makes things up. A similar hypothesis relates to the phenomenon of visual release hallucinations, where an afferent information from the eye serves an inhibitory function and that the brain must filter and optimize the excess of sensory information, thus blocking other perceptual and memory traces from entering consciousness. When the afferent information fails to reach a threshold level due to a lesion along the central visual pathway, perceptual traces stored in the brain that are repressed under normal conditions are released into consciousness as hallucinations. But what is happening in the brain during a hallucination? A 1998 fMRI study of individuals with Charles Bonnet syndrome found that both spontaneous and triggered hallucinations that involved color, texture, objects, and faces were correlated with increased activity in the ventral extrastriate areas that are dogmatically related to those functions. For example, if patients hallucinated in color, area V4 was active, or if they hallucinated objects or faces, activity was localized to the fusiform gyrus. The prognosis for Charles Bonnet syndrome is extremely variable. Patients can expect a latent period between their primary visual impairment and the emergence of hallucinations, which are typically sudden in their onset. The two most common disease courses are periodic, in which the patient alternates between periods of hallucination and remission, and continuous, in which hallucinations are unremitting. The syndrome lasts as briefly as a few days or can persist for several years. Although the effect may be overreported, many patients enjoy their hallucinations and do not desire treatment. With this caveat in mind, one way to treat Charles Bonnet syndrome is to rectify the underlying visual impairment, such as of cataract surgery or wear prescription lenses. There is no universally effective pharmacotherapy, but antipsychotic, antidepressant, and anticonvulsant medications, particularly low doses of gabapentin, have seen some success. If these approaches are unsuccessful or not possible, patients can manage lifestyle and environmental factors. Hallucinations are worsened by lack of sleep, low light conditions, stress, and social isolation. As in phantom limb pain, psychological techniques such as distraction, meditation, or hypnosis may help patients cope. Similarly, counseling and validation help patients realize they are not going crazy. Finally, although it is not the most uplifting treatment proposition, patients whose vision declines to a point of blindness often cease hallucinating altogether.